Hello and happy Friday, y'all. I'm Myra Ansari here for Wave Now. Thanks so much for joining us. So today is a perfect day to talk about this topic because it is cold out. It finally feels like winter is back. I know things have been flip-flopping here in our area for quite some time. So today we are talking about car seat safety. And I remember I kind of went through this when my children were really little and they were in car seats, and you kind of wonder, what do you do with their bulky coats? What's safe to do? Joining us today is Linda Lambert from AAA here in town to talk to us about car seat safety and those bulky winter jackets. Thanks so much for talking with us. So, what's the message that you want folks to know today about what's safe when kids are in their car seats?
Well, it's important to remember that car crashes are the number one killer of children ages newborn up to age 13. So we want to do everything we can to protect our kids when they're traveling in the car. Your instinct when it's this cold outside is to wrap them up, bundle them up, and keep them as warm as possible. But if you don't follow certain procedures, that could end up being very dangerous. Puffy jackets keep them warm, but in the event of a crash, when they are restrained in the car seat with a puffy coat on, that coat kind of collapses and gets smashed under the seat belt, leaving a gap, which can cause the child to slip in the car seat and they won't be positioned properly. And worst case scenario, they can even slide out of the seat and be ejected. So we don't want them wearing those puffy jackets when it's cold outside.
That's pretty
Take the
scary. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you want to take the jacket off and buckle them in their car seat and do it indoors. First thing you need to remember is warm the car up, then keep that car seat inside until you're ready to leave. Don't put them in a puffy jacket. If you are worried about them getting cold, fleece is good because it won't condense like the puffy coats will. But so put them in that car seat ahead of time. And when you get them in the car, you can cover them with a blanket, or you can take that puffy jacket and turn it around and put their little arms through the sleeves, put it on backwards so that the restraints are on the child and not on the jacket.
So, Linda, what age range does this apply to? And is this obviously you've got the and gosh, I'm probably saying this wrong because I know you've got the booster seats, the car seats that convert over the. Is it the kind that we carry the baby in, or is it the kind that has a protective backing? What car seats and ages are we talking about?
We're particularly concerned about infants and toddlers. They're smaller, and they have to be in those car seats correctly. That's why proper car seat installation is so important, because you can put your child in a car seat, but if it's not installed properly and you are in a crash, it might not be effective. It might not do the work. So everyone can benefit from this rule, even adults. We are bigger than infants and toddlers, but it's something that really applies to everyone, but especially to small young children.
And I know that parents out there are thinking, okay, that's just one more thing that's going to slow down my morning routine. And I'm already short on time as it is. But really, when you think about it, that extra step that you take in the morning, just not putting that coat on, you may think, well, I want you to be warm in the car, but it can actually be dangerous. I think sometimes the things that we're doing, we think that things that we're doing are safer and better, but they're not.
No, and we actually perform a demonstration to show parents. So, and if you have time this weekend, maybe try it, and you'll see what we're talking about. Put your baby in the car seat with their puffy jacket on. Do this in the house, and strap them in, and get those straps as tight as possible, and then unbuckle them, take them out of the puffy coat, put them back in the car seat, and buckle those restraints without moving them from where they were when they had the jacket on. And you will see that you will be able to pinch fabric at the top of their shoulders, which means that those restraints are not tight enough.
How tight should they be, Linda?
You should be able to get a finger underneath the restraint between the buckle and the child, but no more than that. I mean, you don't want it to be uncomfortable or to strangle them or choke them or impede their breathing or anything like that. but you do want them to be very snug. And if you can insert a finger or two between the strap and the child, then you're good to go.
Have you seen cases, Linda, where the puffy jackets have caused, children to get hurt, maybe even fatalities? Has that happened a lot?
Unfortunately, it has happened over the years. NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, keeps track of crash data, and it has happened in the past. So that's why AAA is so um, emphatic about letting people know that this can be dangerous if you don't follow the proper guidelines.
You were mentioning some tips for parents out there on what to do, because no one wants to be cold. Our kids don't like, that's the first thing my kids complain when they get in the car. Mom, the car is too cold, but what do we do? Warming up the car ahead of time, that can help. What are some other tips that you have that can kind of make this whole thing a little easier?
Well, I know now most car seats come with a base that you insert into the car,
Hmm.
and then just remove the car seat, and it oftentimes serves as a stroller as well. So all of those modern conveniences and inventions have helped make it easier to protect your child. So probably if you have that type of car seat, 9 times out of 10, you're picking the base or the car seat up from the base and carrying it inside. So that's important. Keep that car seat indoors where it will stay warm. Then when you get ready to buckle your child in the seat, make sure they don't have any kind of puffy jacket or vest on. As we mentioned earlier, fleece is good, but no puffy coats. Buckle them in that car seat, get it tight, and get them safe and sound in there. And when you take the car seat to the car, you can either take their puffy jacket, turn it around backwards and put their arms through the sleeves, or you can put blankets around them, and they can always wear a hat and gloves as well. It's important to also note about blankets. Blankets are the same as puffy jackets. Do not put the blanket between the buckles of the car seat and the child. You want that blanket on the outside. The only thing you want between the buckles of the car seat and the baby is the clothing that they have on.
And Linda, is it the issue? Is it the fabric of the coat? Is it just the fact that the straps just are too loose? What's the issue here? Is it a number of things?
It's you have to remember what happens in a crash, especially those that happen at higher speeds. You first have the vehicle hitting something, whether it's another vehicle, a tree, a wall, whatever it is. So you've got that first element of the crash, and then you have the people in the vehicle that are thrown forward, and they're going to hit steering wheels, dashboards, if they're not properly restrained. Same thing with children. And then the third element of a crash is what happens internally in your body. Your organs are thrown around, which is sometimes why you see people who have been killed in crashes and they don't show any visible signs of trauma, but it's a spinal injury or a brain injury. That's why we have seatbelts, and that's why we have car seats. So it's so very important, especially in the event of a crash at a higher speed, that everyone is restrained safely. And you might look at that puffy coat and say, well, that can't be more than an inch of give. But with all of the force and the impact of a crash, that can be enough to loosen that harness and move that child around in the seat where it is not safe. And again, in the event of the more horrific and terrible crashes, the child can actually be ejected from the seat.
What about kids in booster seats? Does this apply to them as well? What's the safest thing there?
Again, it's the same principle, because when they're in booster seats, you're using the vehicle seatbelt to restrain them in the car. So that same principle applies. If they're wearing a thick, puffy coat, that seatbelt might not do the proper job of restraining them.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's where my kids are at in particular. So I wanted to personally ask that question because I always think, put your coat on. It's cold outside. Put your coat on. You're going to get in from here in school. But I'm glad you talked about that. Linda, is there anything that I did not ask you that you feel like our viewers today should know about?
I don't think so. It's just, I think it's important to remember. I love the tip that we have where you turn that jacket around and put it on them backwards, their arms through the sleeves. That really does serve the same principle and the same purpose as them wearing the coat, but it's so much safer. So if you're worried about them getting cold in the car, just turn that jacket around and put it on them, and then maybe add another extra layer with a blanket.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Linda. I hope that we educated some parents out there. I know that I learned something personally, so I appreciate your time. For more information on car seat safety, Linda, folks can go to AAA, right?
Correct, AAA.com. And you can also go to NHTSA's website, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Just search nhtsa.gov and it'll take you right to the site.
And Linda, I know that when I was about to be a mom, one of the things that scared me the most is, do I have my car seat in right? Where can folks go to kind of see if they've done it correctly? I know I went to Norton Healthcare, I think, and had it checked out, but where can folks go if they are worried if it's in properly?
Some fire departments offer that service. You just need to call around and see, because things are constantly evolving and changing. You can also check with AAA, with your local AAA office, to see if they have a certified technician. And then Norton's Safe Kids is an absolute godsend for our community because they have certified car seat technicians who do practically nothing most days but install car seats and teach classes on car seat safety and just help parents get comfortable with using car seats, especially when they are new parents with an infant.
Yeah, that is where I went to Norton Safe Kids, and it gave me that peace of mind because that was the one thing I was terrified with. I didn't want to be the one that didn't install it correctly and something to happen. So that made me very nervous. Linda, thank you so much for your time today and talking with us here on Wave Now. I appreciate you. Again, go to AAA.com if you have any questions or you want to look for more information. I'm Myra Ansari. I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead.